Hello everyone, my name is Katie Ewers and I'm a professional careers advisor and a life coach, and this is my next video in my self-discovery series, because the best thing and the only thing that you can do to start off when you're looking for a job is to find out about you, your personality, your abilities, your talents, your motivations, what you really enjoy doing, because you're working a long time. I always advocate the need to find out a lot about yourself before you make that big decision in your life. I've done videos on the Myers-Briggs personality, Strengths Finder by Clifton, Howard Gardner's intelligences so far, and the motivational maps. And today I'm doing Belbin team roles. Now, like all the other theories I've talked about in the past, the Belbin team roles is very much used by management to help build a team that is effective. But it can be used for more than that. It can be used to help you decide the kind of things that you would like to do in a job. So I use Belbin team roles in the context of careers advice. So, Mr. or should I say Dr. Meredith Belbin and his team discovered that there were 9 clusters of behaviour. I see that a lot. There's often 9 clusters of behaviour and abilities. And he called them the Belbin team roles. Now, he's a very intelligent man, so I put a lot of credence on him. You know, he's a PhD, Mr. Belbin. And him and his team came up with these 9 clusters of behaviour, which I think are very, very accurate. So I wanted to do a video on them. Because remember, you're pulling all these the answers to all these videos together to come to a big picture on who you are as a person. And this is just one of the steps that you need to take to help you figure out who you are as a person. So the Belbin team role behaviours can help you become a high-performing employee when you know the kind of things you want to do and that you're good at, and then you know the kind of things that the job that you're going for entails, then you will be a more high-performing employee. So what I think the Belbin team roles do mostly, and where they come to their most use, for me anyway, and for you if you're looking for a career, is to decide on the kind of role you'd like to play. Not just the name of the job, but the tasks that you want to perform on a daily basis. Like that I talked about on Clifton's Strengths Finder. What kind of character, what kind of things do you want to be performing or doing every day? And the Belbin team roles helps you look at all the things that you could do or think about or do socially, and break it down and think, which are the best areas for me? And there might be more than one. You see, you might be a bit of a thinker, but you want the social too. So this isn't just about putting yourself in a box like I'm a resource investigator. This is about thinking about the elements of you that you could draw forwards to help you decide on the job that you'd like to do. So it's the tasks that you perform and the environment that you would thrive within. Okay, so think of it along those contexts when you're watching this video. So there are 9, the plant, monitor, evaluator and specialist. They're the thinkers. So they're the quieter types, but they're the ones that come up with the ideas, because everything starts with an idea, right? So the thinking group are all different elements of thinking, okay? And I'll explain those in more detail when I go into each one. And the action group, of course, is what it says on the tin, the people that want to just get started, the ones that actually make it happen. So the thinkers think, the action makes that thinking a reality. And then you've got the people group, which is another important section. Where are you a team worker, resource investigator, networker, coordinator? Okay, so I would pick more than one of those, but there's one that's, say, more strong for me, and the elements of that is what I would look for in a job as part of my research. So the thinking group, the first one I'm going to talk about is the Belbin group called Plant. Now they're the thinking group. So they're the ones that innovate, they create, they're original, they're creative, they're innovative, they're unconventional, quite a maverick, radical, unorthodox. You've got a massive imagination, and you're always full of new ideas. Not all the ideas are always useful, but you're always coming up with ideas and new innovations, and you never know. Sometimes those ideas, you get a little gem, and that idea is amazing. So there's some ideas that don't work so well, and some ideas you come up with which are little gems. So if you feel that that's you, you're not so sure if you're a plant. It's all about thinking and new ideas and musing and reflecting. So if this is you, maybe you're a bit solitary, quite introverted, very smart though. Like I said, some of your ideas can be a bit impractical. So some of your ideas are amazing, and if that's what you want to do as a career, this could be one of the pointers for you. But you must also understand that some of your ideas are impractical. Not everyone's ideas are all great. Amazing problem solver, but you're quite independent, but that feeds into the fact that you're not all that social, so you like to do things yourself. And you're a free thinker, you're a maverick, you're unconventional, you like to create things that people might raise an eyebrow to. And we need people like you, otherwise nothing would be fresh and nothing would be new. So if this one really rings true to you, note this one down as something that you might need to consider when you're looking at a job, if you feel that you are a plant. Okay, so a little bit more about the plant before I move on to the next. Very highly creative, as you can imagine, because you're innovative, you're new, you're fresh, good at solving problems in unconventional ways. So a bit of a maverick, do things a bit differently. So it means you're creative and imaginative, free thinking, you generate ideas, you solve difficult problems, you think outside the box. Weaknesses, you might ignore incidentals, be too preoccupied to communicate, shut yourself in this own little world where nothing around you, you're just not interested, okay? And that includes people. So that can be a bit of a weakness for you. You're not the social type, and you're not really interested in what's going on around you. Don't be surprised to find that you might be a bit absent-minded and forgetful if you're a plant, because you're a creative type. You're not thinking about the specifics of things. You're always thinking of what's new, what's fresh, what could I develop? And that's a talent too. But a talent, it brings a weakness all the time, and a weakness might bring a talent. Okay, the next one in the thinking group is the monitor evaluator. So very serious person, very stoic in nature, but very risk averse. So you take care, you plan, you make sure, you look before you jump. You're slow, you're subdued, you check everything to make sure it's going to be good. You're a critical thinker, very, very strategic, very good at data analysis and analysis of ideas, discerning, smart, shrewd, but you can be a bit overcritical, but you still have that element of intuitiveness about you, a little bit less logical than, say, some other of the types. Always looking at the pros and cons of things, problem solver. You're a good decision maker because you always think things through well and quite objectively. You're kind of the type of person that can think of things on more of an objective level and not allow emotions to overtake too much, and see the objective options. So you are the critical thinker, the analyzer, the strategist. So think of all this. If you feel that this one is you, this is the kind of job you might want to think about, especially if it fits with the other elements, which it will, like the Myers-Briggs and that you've done as well. Because I want you to do more than one video in this series and bring it all together in a big picture to show who you are. So yeah, if you feel you're a monitor evaluator, then note this one down and a few of the key words on Word or on paper or however you're collecting the data together for this. So that's a monitor evaluator. The last in the thinking group, I mustn't forget this one. I nearly did it again. So the monitor evaluator is very logical, but they're also very intuitive. I think they have a bit of both. They make impartial judgments because they're good at thinking things through and looking at every angle. Where required, you weigh up the team's options in a very dispassionate, objective way, as I've said a moment ago. strategic, discerning, wise. You see all options and you judge things accurately. So if you make a decision on something, your manager or whoever else in your team knows that you've made a good thought out decision and it's worth a pop. You're worth trusting when you come up with something like this. But sometimes you lack the drive and ability to inspire others because it's just not your thing, and you can be overly critical of others. And if you're a monitor evaluator, you might be a bit slow at making decisions, because remember, you want to make sure you get it right, so that when you do make a decision, when you do move forward, it's a good, solid decision. Okay, write this down if this is you. The last in the group, we're here, specialist. Okay, so you're into knowledge and research. You're going to be the kind of person that might study for a master's or a PhD at uni because you have this specialism and interest that you want to dig in deeply. And it's like nobody else knows this information but you, and that makes you feel like you're giving something. It's a very narrow range of information that you're giving, but it's a narrow range that nobody else can give. Okay, and that's where you get your satisfaction as a specialist. So you like acquiring knowledge, you like research. Write this down if this is stinging with you. You like to be the expert. You like to mentor and teach others what you can do or your specialism. Very narrow in interests, as I said, very specific. But you could be quite resolute and unyielding in what you do and how you are. Love to learn, so you love structure, you're single-minded, and you have loads of skills, but you're another one, you're not really the sociable type. You like to focus on your research and gaining the development of your specialism. So don't get a job where you're having to be facing other people a lot. You want a job where you're thinking, creating your specialism. You're a self-starter, but you can be a bit stuck on technicalities on things. So you can get a little bit stuck on one little bit and obsess over it. If this bit is stinging with you, maybe you need to take account that you are a specialist, and you might need to consider this as a big option going forward, to become a specialist in whatever you do. Okay, so you bring depth of knowledge, not breadth. It's a very narrow range of knowledge. In a key area or a key specialism within the team. Your strengths are that you're very single-minded. No one's going to tell you what to do because you're not really interested in socialising or listening to anyone else. Self-starter, dedicated, you love to learn. You provide specialist knowledge and skills that no one else can give. Your weaknesses is that obviously your contribution tends to be very narrow and very, very specific, and you can dwell a bit too much on the technicalities that may not need to be dwelled on so much. And you can overload people with information when you talk to them. So that's the thinking group. So if you feel that this is a strong element for you, right, whichever one, or maybe even two of them, like really matches you, and think, is this the kind of thing that I would like to do in a job? Would I like to be the technical, the thinker? It's all up to you. Right, the people group, very different group. So you're social, you're diplomatic, you're caring if you're a team worker. So this is the next one, you're a team worker. And this is the first of the people group. Now, write this one down. If this one really you think, yeah, that's the one, that's me. You're sociable, you're diplomatic, you're caring, you're supportive, you're concerned for others, cooperative, quite mild-mannered. You listen to the views of others, and you're very flexible and adaptable. You're very intuitive and perceptive. You can read people in a very calm manner, and you have very good listening skills. You're good at bringing people together, mediating a group that are squabbling. But you can be a bit indecisive because you want to ask the team all the time rather than making a decision yourself. But the team worker is really amazing in a company and is needed. They're the ones that keep people together, and they help with cohesiveness within the company or within any kind of environment. If you're a team worker, the jobs you would be good at will be being caring and supportive towards others, being adaptable. Now, there's so many jobs out there that would match the team worker mentality. So write this down if this one pings with you. So the team worker, so brings people together. Versatility, flexibility, you use that to identify what's required and complete it on behalf of the team and getting the right team members involved. You're cooperative, you're perceptive, you're diplomatic. You listen very well, and you mediate and avert friction where possible. Weaknesses, you can be a bit slow to make decisions because you're so indecisive in crunch situations because you don't want to upset anyone, but you can never please everyone. You tend to avoid confrontation, and you might be hesitant to make unpopular decisions. You're a team worker, so you're not going to be the one that's going to want to make that unpopular decision or communicate that unpopular decision. You want to support the team. Okay, you want to be that caring support for the team. You certainly don't want to be the punisher, and you certainly don't want to be the person delivering bad news. Resource investigator. Now, this is the next in the people group. Very bouncy, very extrovert, the communicator, the networker, the one that gets on the phone and pulls in people, pulls in contacts, opportunities, possibilities. Very outgoing, studies others' ideas a lot. Inquisitive in exploring of other people's ideas and information there is out there. They love to explore information, so they're always searching for information and resources, not just information, not just data, but people as well. They can network with people and build rapport with people and get them on board for the team or for the company or for whatever job that you want to do. What kind of jobs are the people that network, that pull people in and get people involved? There's so many jobs where that kind of activity is, really useful. Drawing in customers, marketing, promotions, the sky's the limit if you're able to pull in resources and people from the external world. So you like to research, you're inquisitive, you like to explore, you love new ideas, new developments. But the thing is, your enthusiasm rapidly fades after the idea is sunk in. You love starting a new thing and coming up with a new idea and bringing that idea to the team. But when it comes to developing that idea or coming towards the mundane on that idea, you tend to lose your enthusiasm. So for you, it's about going out and bringing the new things in. It's not about processing it when it is in. You want to just bring them in. You're the fisherman. You're the one that brings the resources in for the team to deal with, whatever member of the team would fit that task the best. Okay, you're very relaxed, you're over optimistic at times, very fun loving, very positive. You use your inquisitive nature to find ideas to bring back to the team and people to bring back to the team that can be a use for the team. You're outgoing, you're enthusiastic, you explore all opportunities, you develop contacts. Your weaknesses are you might be a bit over optimistic at times, lose interest after the initial idea, very much so. Once the initial enthusiasm has passed anyway. And, you might forget to follow up on a lead. Okay, so that's the resource investigator. Very outgoing, very zingy, pulling in the crowds, pulling in the resources, and then moving on to the next with enthusiasm. Last in the people group, the coordinator. So you're very confident, you're very self-assured in what you can do. You clarify goals for people, you delegate work, offload work and delegate it to the different people. You're able to spot talent within the team and give people the right jobs for their talent levels, which is what I'm sort of thinking about here. You prefer equal communication, so you don't want to be like boss man, everyone on the floor saying, yes, sir. You want equal communication. You're helpful. You don't just hand down jobs and then just clutter off. You might delegate a little bit too much at times, but you like your goals to be shared. You're very trusting, but you can also be quite manipulative, perceptive, intuitive. You know how to manage people and delegate your tasks to people, and considering that the tasks are shared amongst all. But just ensure that you're not delegating a little bit too much. You're good to focus the team on its targets and objectives. So management, supervisor, that kind of thing. Draw out team members, team leader, draw out team members, delegate work appropriately. You're mature, you're confident, you're self-assured, you're good at identifying talent and putting people in the correct place, clarifying goals and ensuring those goals are achieved. Weaknesses, you can be a bit manipulative and you might offload too much of your share of the work. As I've said, careful you don't delegate too much, because you do over-delegate and you leave yourself little work to do. Whether on purpose or whether not, you do tend to over-delegate. Last but not least, the last three in the action group. So remember, you can think about it, but nothing happens unless you take action, right? And get people involved. So you've thought about it, you've got people involved. Now it's time for action. So you might be in the action team. Your goals and results driven. You want to find out what that goal is and get it achieved. Energetic, dynamic, quite pushy, quite aggressive, good at upsetting people. You know, you want what you want and you don't want to be faffing about. You know, if you're that kind of person, and this is stinging with you, you might need to write it down, because you might want to amalgamate this into your work. Argumentative and challenging. You're not afraid to say it like it is. And if someone's not doing their job properly, or if they've done the wrong thing, you know, you're quite happy to tell them so, you know, no problem whatsoever. Very determined. You can hurt people's feelings, as you can imagine, when you're truthful with people. Very directive, very assertive. You tell others what to do, not the other way around, and you're very courageous. You'll compete against anyone. You can work under pressure, and you're just action orientated. Let's just get it done. I'm not worried about, you know, thinking about it. We'll see how it goes. So goals, results driven, energetic, dynamic, pushy, aggressive. I'm thinking of like this Wolf of Wall Street mentality. If this is you, write this one down. And the shaper, this is what else you're good at. You provide the necessary drive and passion to ensure that the team keeps moving and doesn't lose their focus and momentum. Okay, very, very needed in a lot of jobs. Challenging, dynamic, thrives on pressure. You have the drive and courage to overcome any obstacles. You know, there's so many jobs that kind of skill would be useful. So please write this down. Even though people get upset with you if you're a shaper and tell you that this isn't good, this is an ability. Just because it upsets others, you know, not every type is here to make friends and influence people. So if you are a shaper and you do get a lot of stick for your nature, just tell them to very nicely to go away. Okay. Weaknesses, you can be prone to provocation. You see other people can get a bit prickly with you. You may sometimes offend other people, but you know, you're not here to make friends and influence people. You could risk becoming quite aggressive. However, you need to be calm. Not so driven that you end up being aggressive or bad-humoured in your attempts to get things done. You need to balance that. It's brilliant that you want to get things done and you don't want any pussyfooting around. But there comes a time where you can be a little bit over-aggressive and over-bad-humoured, which can be counterproductive. But if you're feeling this one, write this one down, especially if you really feel that this is the real essence of you. Implementer. So you're whatever it says on the tin, you implement. You're the action, the implementer. You're practical. You take that idea and you implement it. Give me the idea, give me whatever it is, and I will put it into reality. I will implement it. Lots of self-control, very disciplined. Organises work very well. You work very hard and you're relentless. You know, if you want to get something implemented, you're going to make sure that gets done. Systematic, efficient, loyal, established, selfless, but a little bit inflexible at times, but reliable. You know, people can count on you if you're an implementer. If you say you're going to implement the idea, you will implement the idea. You are very good at making sure the idea is feasible. Of course you are. You know, if somebody gives you a weird idea, you've got to check on its feasibility and whether it's actually able to be implemented in the real world. So you're a bit slow to respond to the new at times, you know, because it's a whole new lot of things to learn. To be able to implement something, you've got to know it quite thoroughly. So an implementer will need time to draw in that new idea and think about how it can be implemented in the real world. So they're practical. You take that idea, you put it into action. You take a concept, you take a situation, and you put it into action. If that is stinging you, then maybe you're an implementer. So you need a plan. You're needed to plan a workable strategy. Okay, workable. So taking the idea and making it workable. Carry it out as efficiently as you can. You're very practical, so you're good at actually taking the idea and making it tangible, reliable, efficient, which is you need. Turn ideas into actions, organise work that needs to be done. On weaknesses, you can be a bit inflexible, slow to respond to the new because, as I've said, to implement you need to know something quite deeply, and you're more of a doer rather than a thinker, so maybe a kinesthetic kind of way of learning, so you need time to draw new ideas in. You might be slow to relinquish your plans in favour of positive changes, because whatever you do, it's already you don't want to be the one that thinks it through. You want to take a well thought out plan and then take that plan and bring it into reality. And if somebody throws something new into that pot, that can be quite stressful, as you can imagine, for anyone that's trying to implement something in the real world. Changes are a pain, especially for an implementer. Last one, and the last in the action group, the perfectionist, the completer, the polisher, the one that finishes the job. So whatever happens, they're the one that goes in, checks the job, looks around, makes sure all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted and everything's shiny and sparkly. Everything starts up properly. If you're technical, you're the polisher, the cleaner, the perfectionist. You make sure things are correct and you make sure things are accurate. So your editor, your quality controller, always think in terms of the kind of work that you might like to do if you are a completer, finisher. You like timely deadlines, good at concentration, good at focusing on that detail. Because to complete something to perfection, you need to be able to look at the detail, right? You need to be able to focus and concentrate and make sure that you have polished it and cleaned it or restored it or brought it up to its best condition. A bit of an anxious worrier because you're always looking for perfection and you never meet your own standards for perfection. Who does? Introverted again, you're not the social type, but it doesn't mean you don't like other people, you're just the quieter type. Reluctant to delegate because you like to get things done yourself because you know that you will do it properly because you focus on everything in a hyper way. Right, so they are all 9 of them. So last but not least on the finisher, most effectively used at the end of tasks to polish, scrutinise, check for errors, subjecting to the highest standards of quality control. So there are many jobs that would link to that. So if this is you, write this one down. You're painstaking, conscientious, anxious. You'll check things a lot and make sure it's perfect. Search out errors, you polish, you perfect. Weaknesses, you can be a bit of a worry a bit too much, reluctant to delegate, get stuck on one element and just keep on going with it. They could be accused of taking their perfectionism to extremes, most definitely. Okay, so write this one down if this one's stinging with you, because whichever one of these you relate to, or whichever one or two maybe that you relate to, they're all ideas that you might need to bring forward when thinking about the kind of job you're looking for. So I hope you've liked my video today and that you found it really useful. I'm going to be doing my last of my 7 videos. I said 6, okay, but there are 7 in my self-discovery series, because the Myers-Briggs one, you watch the first video and then you watch the little video that's linked to your type. So there's 2 for Myers-Briggs. So there's 7 videos in total, with an 8th video, I think, to bring it all together. That's my self-discovery series. Now, I found all those theories useful to help me figure out who I was, and it's helped me with many clients to help them really decide, God, this is me, this is where I'm going to be happy, so they make really strong decisions in their career. So if you've liked my video today, please click that thumbs up button, the bell icon at the top, and subscribe to my very new channel. I am a professional careers advisor. I've been doing it for a while, but I'm new to YouTube. I just want to help people to fulfill their purpose and their passion and have a passionate and successful life. I hate young people and career changers or anyone that really wants to learn about themselves. I'm happy to help. So click that bell icon because I'm going to be uploading loads of stuff, and like my videos and subscribe to my channel and share to people you think this might be useful for. You can email me at katie@careertalents.co.uk, or you can go to my website at careertalents.co.uk, and you can connect with me on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn and Instagram, and I'm going to put those links in the description box for you. So as ever, guys, you've got to trust that soul within you when you are, when you're looking for the job of your dreams. No one else can tell you what that job is, only you. I'm hoping my videos will help you have a think about who you are and come to a personal decision that is best for you. Okay? See you soon, people.